Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to do today. I noticed that there are a couple of bugs. I'm working on, actually, let me start. I'm working on a game called Lexible. It's a networked game that's boggle style. What you're looking at right here in this window is my game in developer mode. It's designed to be played like Jackbox, where you have a presenter here and then you have multiple people connecting via mobile devices or their PCs. And so this test setup I created has the game running in different um, components inside the same window, so it's really easy to test. So all I have to do is start the game, and pick the players that I want to join, and then I can start the game. And so here we are. So today I noticed a couple of bugs when I was playing with it on the mobile phone. One is you don't see it in this window, but anytime you tap in the window on a mobile phone, it selects this dialog or selects this component. I don't want it to do that. So I'm going to see if I can turn that off with CSS. And then the other bug was, this slider control used to slide around, but it's not anymore. It's sticking. So I got to figure out why that's not happening. All right, so that's what I'm doing today. Oh, and I'll move this out of the way so you can see the code, and let's get started. So let's work on the slider control. This control is a common control I have defined in my code down here in my components that the other controls share. It's called slider. And the slider control basically renders a touchable component, hooks into these drag events, and then renders the content in the smaller window. So, excuse me. Um, one way we can look at this is that there is a drift action that I set up here. So when we end the drag, I create a drift function that constantly recalls itself until the drift is decayed enough. So it looks like the drift isn't happening, so I want to debug this first by just putting into this drift function some console output so I can see what's happening. So here I'll do a console. Hey, welcome extra more. Do a console dot write line. Oh no, that's C#. Sorry. Console dot log. All right, what do we want to log here? We want to say what that decay. We want to say what our momentum value is. So let's see. I will do drift start, and then let's do a JSON that stringify the momentum so we can see the whole contents there. And then inside the drift, let's just see if we're calling it here. And we'll just put 4 spaces there so I know we're inside it. And we'll say drift, calling here. And then this action is, or this part here is, if the drift is big enough, then we will move the little child component around. And we're seeing the momentum decay, so then that should be fine. Okay, so now let's see if we can, all right, so we did get a drift start, and we did get inside drift. That's interesting. Okay, so this logic here is not triggering. drag start distance. Did we get the, so let's find out, and let's just, so we can see what it's calculating here, let's create a magnitude equal to this equation. So yeah, strictly speaking, I should take a square root of these momentum values, but I just want an approximate to make sure that it works. It should be good enough. Okay, so if momentum, all right, and now, oh no, magnitude. If it's bigger than that, let's see. I want to write that here. So let's just move this down, and then we'll just say, we'll put the magnitude here. But I also want to see what this drag distance is. I think it might be undefined. I'm expecting it to be undefined, but maybe it's a small number. All right, so saving that, coming up here. The drift says, all right, so it's undefined, and it's definitely greater than 30. So if magnitude is greater than 30, why do we not get into this method here? Because surely that's probably order of operations, probably. And indeed, that was it. Okay, so the problem here was that this gets executed first, then this. So I had to put parentheses around here to force the order of operations to process this first to pick a proper drag start distance. Okay, that was easy. So fix that bug. So let's get rid of our console writes. Save. Boom. Okay, so now, and I made that, I feel like that's kind of big number. Let's drop this down to more like, let's see what it looks like with a 10. Or Alex, 15. Now, yeah, that seems all right. All right, so now let's take a look at what changed. So I change the deployment again. Okay, so let's do that change separately. Fixed deployment, that was a change I did yesterday. Check that in, and then slider is what I did today, and then we updated the version. So that's a version, let's see, front end version 0.60. I just use those as kind of markers so that it's easier to look through commits and for previous versions. Can't say that I actually use that much, so it's aspirational. And then I'll check in my to-do with this other one. So all I did was I just pulled up, I think it makes it easier to read. And that guy, and oh, I don't want to have that print. This is why it's good to check your diff before you check in, otherwise I will leave turds in my code, and so I do that. Okay, so fixed sticky slider, check that in, push it up to the server. Okay, next, so I just fixed that one. So I have this little to-do. This is a way, I know this is kind of a thing that you might be interested to see how I work in general. I always keep a to-do in a project, And my to-dos are a way of tracking everything that happened, and I document my to-dos. So like all these X's, this is all stuff that I've completed. Oftentimes when I complete something, sometimes I'll put technical details in there so it's easy to go back and see what I did. These are ideas for games that I want to do up here. And like, yeah, some of them are just wild ideas, like a touch Tetris, where you touch the screen and blocks drop from immediately where you touch. So it's kind of like a speed Tetris that you can play in a touch fashion. Merge to the top is like a asset creating game. So anyway, I keep ideas in my to-do file, and then I divide up my to-dos by different categories. So there's I'm kind of ignoring it right here because cluster fun is actually this whole project is called cluster fun, and I'm doing a bunch of different games, so this is organized a little differently. But let's go up here to what I'm doing now. Yeah, here we go. So I'm working on Lexible, and I divide my to-dos from stuff I'm doing now to stuff I've thought of that I need to sort. That's the new category. Stuff I want to do sooner and stuff that I want to do later. Generally, just kind of 3 categories to organize my work. And then I click off the X's, and then when I'm done, I drop all of them down to my storage on the bottom. So that's how I keep track of things. So just killed this bug. So the next one is tapping on the phone. So this is probably a CSS thing. I'm not even going to test it here because it's kind of a pain to run it on my phone. So I just want to look at the CSS. I'm pretty sure that there is a way to do this. So CSS prevent div selection on Android. That's where I'm seeing it. This might be related to it. There is a Moz user select option. Oh, this is a possible thing where I think that's what we want. They're available. No select. Okay, let's try this out. I'm going to try this and we'll just see what happens. Okay, and we want this on the touchable control. So let's come down here to touchable, and it it doesn't have a module going with it. So let's create a new module. New file, touchable.module.css. And then, how does it look here? So we want a touchable control, and I spelled that wrong. Okay, so we'll just do this, and then I'll check it later whenever I'm playing around with it. So I'll just put a note here. Prevent the control from getting that ugly blue select box and tapped. All right. And then I need to apply it to the touchable component. So here we're pressing a div, and we want the class name to include styles dot, oh, actually they should be in order. All right, so let's see how, I always forget how to do stuff, so I just copy paste. Touchable. All right, and we want this from touchable. So we have styles here, and then we'll apply the style in here. Styles dot touchable control, and then I like to do a sanity check to make sure that I got it. And so save that. Should be no error, but then I'll do something like background red, and that should, yeah. So as long as I see the red show up, then I know that this thing is engaged. Whereas if I change the name of it so there's a misspelling, it won't show up there. So that's just a super fast sanity check to make sure that it's connected, and then I take that out. Okay, so hopefully that will work. So back here, let's see what we did. We just added the style and put it there. Checked that. Okay, great. So attempting a fix to touchable select problem. Okay, so hopefully that will work. Okay, now we got to do something a little more interesting. So back to the to-do. Let's mark that one off. All right, so let's look at, now I'm going to work on a game dynamic. So that was a simple fix there. Let's refresh and clear out that console output. Okay, so this is a boggle style game. So whenever users do stuff here, so let's pick a word. Now you're going to see how terrible I am at boggle. So there's toy. Okay, so you see it's selected here, and then when the user submits a word, it gets selected, and then all the other players see that it's selected. There's a little bit of a score here. Now, right now, it's just showing black. What I would like to have happen is I would like the players to be parts of teams. And so the way that that's going to happen is I really want this to be a super free-form game. I don't want it to have a lot of structure around how teams form. I'm thinking about, you know, in a party, you might have 10, 15, 20 people even wanting to get in on a group game like this. And so what I would like to have people is to allow people to join, and then when they join, before they enter the game, they have to pick what team they're on. And yeah, I'm thinking ahead. This is going to be funny and chaotic, and it could be awesome. It could be terrible, but I'll worry about adding restrictions later. I look at restrictions as a type of premature optimization. I don't want to optimize out interactions unless playtesting has proven that that interaction is problematic. Okay, so the first change I'm going to make is I'm going to have the clients. Okay, actually no. The first change I'm going to make is I'm going to as people join, I'm going to randomly assign them to teams, because I don't want to have to force myself to make a UI before I get to test this out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the layout of the board so we see team A on the left, team B on the right. There's just going to be two teams. The point of this game is to basically create a bridge from your team side to the other team side by creating these letter combinations. So if like you're up here and you're this guy and you want to improve your position, you're like, you don't have to connect it here. Like you could be, you could divide your players up so that you're on the other team side, and you could be, you know, look at this, Gouge. Is that a word? Gouge. Boom. Yes. So I just picked out gouge here. It's a pretty decent word. Anyway, you can have your team members can be building this bridge anywhere on the grid, and they're trying to connect it. So, all right, so we're going to start by putting team on the left, team on the right, assign them a color, and display that. and randomly assign them as they come in. Then, so let's mark all that down. So what does it mean? So we want to show team lists on the side in the UI. Then we want to highlight the bridge in team color. Then we want to allow incoming players. Actually, I think that's all I'm going to do. I think that's too much of an optimization to try to allow them to choose. I'm just going to say, if you're the first player join, you're on team 1, second player team 2. Later on, I'll let people, we'll make it changeable. So I'm going to put that down here as a new item. Let the user select teams. Because I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, and I'm just trying to do something simple. In fact, this is really good because we do need the concept of teams. This is like the minimal for team concepts, I think. Then I still haven't coded a win condition, so it seems logical that we should have a way for teams to win. And then, oh, look at that, dynamic team join from client. I had already done that. I'm still going to move that down to new because I don't know if I want to do that sooner or later. And then maybe client ends. Okay, so let's do this. So first thing we need to do is we need to change the layout of the presenter to show stuff on the side. And okay, so up here in the flexible presenter, all right, what we're rendering here is okay, I have a 40 pixel margin here. I'm not sure. Now this is where I want to see what I'm rendering, so I'm just going to do background red, my little trick. What's red there? Okay, so this whole thing is the game. This is what we have to work with. I've added some border here. I'm actually interested, I think that border is too big. I'm interested in, and let me explain something here. So you may notice that this is wrapped inside a UI normalizer. So this is a component I created because when developing applications for the web, one of the exceedingly annoying things is that you have, see how there's all these different, screens are all different sizes, all different resolutions. It's very difficult to get layout right on all these different devices when they can be different shapes and form factors, and it's just so annoying. So what the UI normalizer does is it creates a virtual window of whatever resolution that you want. So I'm just picking HD resolution since that seems like a pretty decent resolution. There's no reason I have to pick HD. It can be any resolution, and then it scales the rendering to fit in wherever you wanted to put it. So these are all actually 1920 by 1080 screens on the internal side. That way I can do things like 40 pixels and like it's always the same relative to the other components. So I don't have to worry about like what kind of device it's rendering on. It just works. So anyway, so I can look at here and I can be thinking numbers. So this is 40 pixels. I actually kind of want more like 15 pixels so I can get a little more room here. Boom. Okay, now, now we want the left and the right. So we're going to render the subscreen. So we actually are going to want here. So that's the frame there. We want 3 divs side by side. So this is going to be a row. A row is a component again. I created, it's just a simple thing that makes things expand to the right. And then we want 3 divs. We want a div for team A, and then we want to render the subscreen, and then we want a div for team B. Hooray! And it even like makes it even. Oh, and nice, and the text is down there at the bottom. Okay, so then in this row, let's change our style a little bit. So let's do a class equals, actually, let me figure out what I'm seeing here first before I decide what I'm doing here. So let's get out this red on this guy. And we're going to call this a team column. So we're going to say class equals styles dot team column. Class name. And then down here, I'm going to do the same thing. And now I need to, let's move this down here so that I can edit it at the same time. All right, so there's team column dot game presenter dot team column. Okay, and let's just do background red so I can see where they are. And of course, no, they're at the bottom. So what we want to do then is we do need a class here for the row. Class name is equal to styles dot let's call this the presenter row for now. So dot game presenter dot presenter row, and we'll set the background to be something like green. Okay. So what do we want to have happen here? We want these guys to float to the top. So there's a CSS alignment happening here. And I can never remember how it should work, but I've got a little link here somewhere for CSS. CSS flex align vertical items and flex container. I never remember how to do this. Here we go. So we want this kind of stuff. Align items, flex start. So we want display flex. All right, so down here in this green present row, we want display flex. Sometimes that alone changes it. Bingo. See, got it already. That was easy. Okay, and then these guys here. All right. So since they're already filling up these areas, I'm kind of curious to see what happens if I fill them up with something really big. Team with lots of text. Squeezes it over. Yeah, so we need to actually hard limit the width of these guys. So let's do that. So team column width, let's start playing 100 pixels. Let's see what we're getting. Yeah, too small, and there's definitely an overflow. So let's do overflow hidden. We don't want to see it, but let's make it bigger. I think it needs to be probably 300 pixels because we want lots. I think we can make it a little smaller. Let's make the font size, let's do 80%. Okay, and then I think we can make it a little smaller, like 250. Okay. Okay, so now, all right, so now we need to adjust the size of the game grid. The game grid can clearly be taller, but should be narrower by about, we're missing almost that entire column there, so let's see what we got. 1, 2, about that far, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about, let's try making it narrow by 7 and see what happens. So in the presenter model, oops, that's not where I wanted that. We define the game size. I'm obviously looking for it in the top and it's not there, so I need to change how I declare it. Game size is equal to X something 40, I don't know, Y 20, I don't know, because I don't remember what I put down here when I prepare a new game. There. Oh, look at that. There's exactly that. New letter grid model. So let's do this dot game size dot x, this dot game size dot y, and I already don't like that name, so I'm going to kill that name and pick a better one. This should not be game size. This should be something like, whoops, did not mean to do that. Game size, where are you? All right, F2. Let's do board size. Okay. All right, 40 is too wide, so I know, let's just do 30 for now. And we can make it higher, 24. So almost square. Oh. Why did that not work? Oh, I know why. Because the game is saved and it's loading the saved game. So let's quit, clear all memory, play flexible, add a couple of players, start. Okay, now, okay, that's looking better. We could definitely go wider. 35. Quit. Do you see how helpful it is to have this set up like this? No, quit. Do. Okay. Do. Okay. That looks. I think we're losing a tiny bit over here. Let's do one down. Quit. Why does it? Okay, there's a little bug there. So in our to-do, there's a bug. Quitting presenter does not clear game from memory. So I'm not sure why that's happening. So we'll just clear our memory and try again. Oh, look at that. Okay, definitely need to change this. Maybe not. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's fix this while we're here. I do like how these are laid out. So this center column, I think we should just lay it out and declare the width for it. And we're going to call this the play column. And we'll make it yellow for now. I'll change all these in a minute when I'm done with the layouts. Excuse me. Okay, so the play column there. So let's go back to the presenter. And so when we render the subscreen, all right, so I'm going to call this, I want to rename it. See, this fooled me. I wasn't sure what I'm looking at. So we're going to call this render play area. And then down here, okay, let's put this inside a div. And we'll style the div here is equal to styles dot play column. Do. Okay, and then we need to move this inside it. Here. There we go. So now render it. Excellent. All right, so obviously should not be 250 wide. It should be, calculator please, 1920 minus 30 minus 500, 1390 to be exact. See how nice it is that you know what your resolution there. Because I don't want to calculate percentages because there's going to be a little bit here on the outsides. I know it gets unwieldy sometimes if you're messing around with the layout overall. And usually if that happens, then I'll refactor the layout. Okay, so this is great because it means as people join, I can add them to teams and they can see what teams that they're on. So team A, boom. And we'll be able to change the background of those guys depending on which team they are. Perfect. So let's see if we can make the height in these columns 100%. What happens if I do it like that? So if I say height 100%, what happens? Fills it all the way up. And what happens if I do the center column? Height 100%. I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, it's got to actually have a real height. Fine. So I'm guessing 1,000 pixels, but I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. But let's see how that looks. Too much. 800. Too little. Let's do 900. 950. 970. Okay, that's good. Maybe a little more. 980. Okay, so now we have a consistent rendering. Okay, and then this is nice. Okay, so now let's change the backgrounds of A and B to match our team colors. And so let's do purple. I like purple and yellow, but yellow is my select color right now. Let's just do purple and yellow. I'll change the select color. So now I lost my place. Oh yeah, I want to change those colors. So in the Lexible Presenter, Team A. So let's start breaking this out. and we'll just say style equals background is going to be yellow. And then we're going to do the same thing here, but different. Oh, nope, 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 wrong one. Team B, class name, style equals background. Let's do, what do we say, purple? And any of you designers out there, you're going to be laughing at me. I know that my sense of design is not very good. So that I'm going to have other people do this rendering for me. All right, and let's just turn off that background for the play column. We don't need it anymore. And we don't need these anymore. Or that one. Okay. So now what we see, So this welcome to Lexible needs a little extra border around it so that it's not connected to those team areas. It's up here. Here it is. Yeah. Welcome to Lexible. So let's just go over here. And I'm too lazy to create a. No, I'm not. I'm not too lazy. I'm not too lazy. So let's do game presenter. And we'll call this the instruction area. And so we'll do a class name. Class name equals styles.instruction area. Okay, and then as always, let's give it a background. Background red, so I can see if I hooked it up. I didn't. Because I spelled it wrong here. Sanity checks are great. Excellent. All right. So, height. Can we do 100% here? Yep. And then we want a margin, 20 pixels. Good. And we'll get rid of that. All right, that looks a little nicer. Okay, so we've got the two teams showing up. All right, so these joined team members, we're not going to show them here. We're going to show them over here. So this place, actually, let's check in what we've got now. So we have our layout, our team. We're showing team areas, and we got the layout set properly here. The only thing we need to do is just make sure that the game looks okay inside. It does. Perfect. Well, it's not that perfect, but I'm not too worried about it. All right, so as Team A does stuff, we want to see yellow things show up, and as Team B does stuff, we want to see purple things show up. But first, we need to assign the players to the team. So let's check in what we've got right now. So we're just working on the layout. So we changed the board size. We did that. Okay, and then we added some CSS so that we could do this table style layout for the play area. Great. So let's say, so Lexible changed presenter layout to show teams, like so. Okay. And next, we want to actually assign players to teams and show them in that list. So I think we'll just add the concept of team to a player. But let's do coding by intent. So when we're going to add a new feature, we want to imagine how we're going to use it before we decide what the form of the API should be. Or before we start writing the API, let's figure out like what's a context and how are we going to call it. So we want to look at the presenter model. This is where the player join messages are happening. So somewhere here there's a handle player join. All right. Constructor. Now we're adding player. There it is. Player join. Go to definition. All right. So when a player joins, we need to figure out what team they are on. All right. So see how many players on each team. Add to smallest. Otherwise, this is extra, but I want to do it. Otherwise, pick a random team. All right, so how do we count players on the team? If I'm not keeping, I like to have a list of players, and I like to track the players this way. So I think I'm just gonna search for players. So I'll just say const team A is equal to this dot players dot filter player p dot team. This is where I'm coding by intent. We don't have a team yet. Is equal to A. And team B is B. Okay, and then we're going to add it to the smallest team. So we'll say if team A dot length is less than team B dot length, then we'll player dot team is equal to A. If team B dot length is less than team A dot length, then the player dot team is equal to B, and then else player dot team is equal to, you'll love this, AB, and then we'll select a random index from there by saying date.now mod 2, which believe it or not is easier than calling random. If you have an unhuman sense of timing and you can time down to the millisecond, I guess you can pick which team you're on. If you can do that, then more power to you. Okay, so now because we've coded by intent, the compiler is screaming at us saying there's no team on player. Okay, so let's go to the player, go to definition, and we're going to have observable team is equal to an empty string. We'll call it team X. Save. There we go. Okay, we have successfully added the concept of a team. Now we need to display them in the proper side. So let's go to our lexical presenter where we're showing the players. We have team A, excellent. So we're going to need a render team. So I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to say, again, coding by intent, render team A. And this, actually we'll just do it inside here. And this will be render team B. And I can already tell that I'm going to want to change this up here, so I'm going to have this concept of an observable team color. Yeah, I'm doing this is too soon. We'll fix this when I want to change the colors here. So render team A, render team B. Okay, so we need a render team. Const render team is equal to some function that takes a team name string and then renders something. Alright, so render team needs to return a div with team name, like so. That should work for now. Yes. Of course, that should be centered. I'll fix it later. And now we want to render the players. I kind of want this one to have, let's give it a class name. Class name equals styles dot team title. And we'll come, our presenter module. Boom. End. So let's call this a .game presenter .team title, and we will just say font weight is 800. That should make it bigger. Okay, and then let's do text align center. And let's give it a little margin of 20 pixels and a little border, I don't know, because I feel like it. 1 pixel solid black, stupid border. All right, team A, team B. Okay, that looks kind of nice. I mean, and then we'll put the players below it. So there is our team title. Now we want to render the players. So we say this.props.appModel.players.filter p.team is equal to team name. Okay. Dot map. I'll just leave it on here. Dot map player to some stuff. Div p dot oops. Right? P dot player No, name, p.name, and then we got to give this a key because we're mapping. So we'll say key equals p.player ID, which will be unique. Okay, now it will not render anything yet because we've not done the adding. So let's clear our memory. Start Lexible. Join. Elizabeth join team B. Oh, 2 players named Elizabeth. What are the chances? Oh no, our logic's wrong. So, where we add, let's see, join, go to definition. Okay, if a dot length is, if there's less people in A, then a dot length, join A. If there's fewer people in B, all right, what's wrong? Console.log. A is something, B something, and then we'll, so a dot length. I'll bet you it's coming up 0 each time. That's probably why. That would be my guess, because this makes no sense. Okay, and then I'm going to say console.log picked player dot team. So let's see what it does. Okay, and then we go dupe. Yeah, A is 0, B is 2. Pick B. Why'd you pick B? Okay, I'm so confused. Oh, else. Simple problem. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got now. Clear everything. Let's start over. Okay. Boom. A. B. Oh, by the way, this is another trick. So like you notice I've got little test players here and stuff like this. It's always a good idea include double byte characters in your UI when you're playing, goofing around with your game, because you can be totally surprised by um, internationalization issues um, if you're not testing for it. So I added Chinese player names, which are double byte characters, and you can see they're being handled properly. You can also like put in emojis, make sure that they display correctly. Something that I've observed is that emojis may work on PC, will not work on Mac, or Safari, or even Mac in general. So there's some weirdnesses there. Okay. And then we have the 2 players, and so if we join here, we have picked it randomly. Excellent. Okay. So now we are appropriately assigning members to teams. Excellent. So that's a excellent accomplishment. Okay, so in the presenter model, we added the concept of a team to a player. We randomly assign them to teams when the game goes. We added a team title, and we're rendering the team now. Excellent. Do a space there. Excellent. Okay, so assign players to teams as they join. So do a push to the server. Okay, now we have teams. So the next thing to do is we want, as the players play, we want the words that they select to be their team's color. And I'm just going to keep hard coding them to yellow. But I think I'll define them as some setting somewhere that we can potentially change. I don't like the layout of this. I'm not gonna. Let's at least center it. Let's at least center it. So we have a team title and let's call it the next one a team player name. Copy. So let's call this team player name, and let's take off the font weight. We still want it to be centered. We don't necessarily want a margin. Let's do a smaller margin. And we're no border, obviously. So now we come back to our presenter, and when we're rendering the player here, wait, what's going on? Oh, I was looking at the presenter model. No wonder I was confused. Okay, so now we get down here where we're rendering the player. No, here we're rendering the player. So we'll just go here. Class name is equal to styles dot team player name. And there they are. They're centered, spaced out a little bit. That looks pretty. Okay. By the way, I don't remember where I got these Chinese characters. I have no idea what they say. So they could be hilarious player names for all I know. I don't even know if I looked up Chinese names. I think I just I just found a Chinese website, copied characters. Wonder what those are. Okay, so that looks nice. That was, I'll check it in. Clean up player name display in Lexible. Okay, all right, back to what we were doing. So when we have a player here and we say, so we'll pick out a word, do, and submit it. So now it's black everywhere, but we don't want it to be black. We want it to be the team color. And let's see, this guy is on team B, so now we want a team A player. So let's pick Yosef. And I think John is legit word. And all right, so we're going to want these to be highlighted in two different colors. So the highlighting happens inside the block model, where we say if it's selected here. Oh, yeah. So let's change the select color. So we want the select. I'm going to change the selected color to white, and I'm going to change the normal background color of those guys. Actually, no, I'll just change it to let's do gray. Otherwise, it's this. I can't decide. Let's do CCC. So, all right, so we see darker. Yeah, I don't like that. E. And let's just do green. And all right, so now if we have a player that's selecting something, yeah, that looks fine. We see it here. Maybe not totally fine, but I can live with it. All right, so now let's change the color that we're picking for the background. For the other background here. So, if there's a score in that block, then it's either black or it's transparent. And this one, we actually want to change it. So, it's going to be harder than I thought, but not too bad. So we want to say context, which is a block, dot team is equal to A, then it's yellow, otherwise it's purple. Purple, yellow or purple. So now it's going to complain. Compiler is saying there's no team on the block. Okay, you're right, there's no team on the block. So let's go to the letter block model and put a team there. So let's say observable team string is nothing. All right. When we score a block. All right, so we need to do some stuff. So we cannot do this because when we score a block, we need to also assign its team. So I'm going to remove the ability to set the score directly, and I'm going to create a function for doing it called set score, which is going to have a value of a number and a team, which is a string. Yeah, this is gonna kind of lead us all the way through the code, but that's I trust the compiler. This is where TypeScript really helps you. TypeScript is going to take you through the code, tell you what you need to change. So set score. All right, so we have an action, and we're going to call it, and then inside the action, we're going to say this dot score is equal to the value, and we're going to say this dot team this dot team is equal to the team. Hooray. All right, now this is not going to work because we're trying to set the score here. So TypeScript says can't do that. So we need to say get block dot set score word dot length, and then this data, the word submission data, we know the player that yes. So we know the player. We don't need to actually add the team to the word submission data since we know the player it came from. So we say const player is equal to this dot. Is there a get player? No. This dot players dot find player dot ID. Player ID is equal to player ID. Okay, boom. And then we'll just say, nope, player dot team we need to tell everybody. And since we gave them the player, let's go ahead and put a team on there. Just, I have a feeling it's going to be harder on the client because I don't think the client has all the players. So the team is going to be the player.team. Okay, and now this is saying we don't know what that is, so we're going to go to the definition, and it's going to say we need a team string, and we'll just put a team in here, team string, like that. So these are messages that are going back and forth. Okay, so now the presenter model still has a problem. F8, where is it? Oh, I put too many equals. Too equal. Okay. Now, we should have a problem with the client. Here. Yes, so presenter model. Wait, what are you talking about? I think it just didn't save right. That happens sometimes in React. Okay. Now in the client model, flexible client model, we have an error. F8, which we expected because we can't do this. So we are going to say for each W, actually that should be L for letter. I don't like that word. I don't like that. Don't like it at all. So let's go to the definition and let's just change that to F2 letters. Okay, there we go. So message letters dot for each letter. Then we want to say why does that even work? Oh yeah, because we're using getBlock. So we'll say dot set score, the message dot score, and now we need to actually pull out that player. So we say this dot player, actually const player is equal to oh no, we've got the team. We've got the team. We don't need the player. Message dot score, comma message dot team. Boom. Yes. Do we do it? Refresh. Oh, we're so close, so close. It's doing this because the game is saved and we weren't propagating team information, so it wouldn't know the team information, so it naturally picks team B because team A is never specified. So we quit, clear all the memory, start a fresh game, add a bunch of players to it. Click here to start. Okay. So we've got our players here. So let's start with player Flexible or player Aya, who's in team A. So we should see. Oh, I can almost form quest. Okay, let's do. So bad. MARS Mars selected submit. Boom. Ah. It couldn't find the block. Cannot read properties of undefined in line 104. Really? Okay, so what's undefined? have to do some stuff here. Console.log letters. Actually, let's just do the message. Message, we'll do a JSON.stringify message null to, that makes it look pretty. All right, now the get block may not get the block, but I want to test this, so I'm going to say block is equal to the grid dot get block letter coordinates. Yep. Okay, and then we'll say if not block, then we'll do a console.error. Weird. No block at whatever L dot coordinates. I don't even think that'll print, but I don't care. Block else. What did not work here? So it did do this, but it didn't. When I was trying to come back there, something weird was going on. Did we not set the team? I have a feeling that the team maybe. So let's pick a word. Same. Terrible at this game. Same. Weird. Oh. Let's clear everything. Refresh the page. Fixable. Do, 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 do. Okay. So Taru is in. All right. So Taru, we want to do net. Okay. Submit. Cannot read undefined. So what does our message look like? We have a team A. We have a word. Cannot. It still cannot read properties of undefined. Line 105. Oh, no? Is it? Oh, it's still calling it word. That's why. Why is it still called a word? I changed it. I changed it. Did I change it on the wrong one? Yes. F2 letters. Maybe, I don't know. Is a word anywhere else here? Word, this, oh, word submission data, F2, letters, and is word anywhere else here? As a whole word, yes. Letters. Wasn't, yeah, TypeScript didn't win here for me. Letters. Because no. Yeah, that's probably, yeah, TypeScript wouldn't have known how to follow that. Yeah, I'm thinking about this. Like a way that I could refactor this, I'll just play with this for a little bit, is I would make a class, and I would call this flexible word message. data. And then I would move these guys up here. And then I would do this. Like that. That would potentially accomplish the same thing, though I'm not sure this object assign would work. Let's try it. But then what that does is it makes this, then TypeScript would have followed through because it would have seen this as the same type here. I would have, if I had changed this type, it would have properly bubbled through everything. So let's just try that out and see if it breaks anything. And it is saying, oh, this guy needs to then do this. And then this guy needs to be here, like so. There we go. Okay. Yes. Yep. And now we're finding, this is what, now it's finding stuff that TypeScript should have fixed before, but let's fix it anyway. All right. So this is letters. And it says this is not of type flexible scored word message data is missing flexible scored. Oh, it's listed. Ah, shoot. I was afraid that would happen. No worries. We can still fix this. We can still fix this. So this should not extend cluster from message base, but this should just have a comma here. Can we do that? I don't even know if that's possible. Dang it. Okay. It was a nice try. I'm going to have to think about that some more. That was a good experiment, but it's not going to work. There's probably a nice way we can do this with generic types. I'll think about it later. All right. Refresh. Are we still getting a problem? In the presenter model, we still have, okay, flexible presenter model. Word. Here. Letters. Is there anything left? Nope. Okay, so let's just clear everything. Start over. Start. Okay, so team A as the Chinese named characters. So thank you for giving me a nice word right there. Submit. Cannot read. Data.letters.map. So no letters in the presenter model. Why? So we're in line 349. No letters on this word submission data. Go to definition. That's because probably the client model is setting, there we go. This should be letters. Why did TypeScript not catch that? Don't know. Because submission data is not of that type. It would have caught it if I'd have done this. Then it would have worked. It would have caught it. So that's a little, this is where I love this lazy typing of JavaScript. It's super great. but you have to be a little bit wordy if you want TypeScript to catch problems with it. So let's clear everything, start over. Let's see, doop, 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 go. So Muhammad, where are you? I wonder if that was supposed to be Muhammad. I looked up names, and I guess Muhammad is a real name. Is FUD a word? Apparently. All right, so it's yellow everywhere, and that's right. Now let's have a purple word show up. Justina. So pin is a word. And there we go. Yeah! We've got the player teams highlighted. And just so you can see how this game works, like if you try to, I can try to do a word like this, and even though other teams own it, as long as my score is bigger than their scores, like these are scored as 3, so I have a 4 now. So 4 means that I claimed that territory. And if I want to say, use the word den here, I can't because den, oh, I should probably pay attention to the teams there, but I can't take that E because the E is a 4. I should probably make that possible if the team is the same. So let's put that down in the to-do. So to-do. Put in here, should be able to capture lower scored letter if on the same team. And I'll probably just leave the score the same. Okay. Yeah. But the idea is that, yeah, I can't capture letters unless I've got a higher score. So see if I can find a really long word. So let's see. Hello. I'm going to add a feature where it'll show you words. When you click on a letter, it'll show you words that are available. F-O-L-D. So like, yeah, so if you do F-O-L-D, that will allow you to take that letter, but let's do it with a person who's on a different team. So we want a purple team, so we want Elizabeth. So Elizabeth is going to do the F-O-L-D, and since it's a bigger thing, we've taken it. So like, so now this is how players capture territory, as they spell words as they move across the grid. Okay, let's look at our to-do list and see what we've accomplished. We did the players and teams. We showed the team lists, and we highlight the team bridge in the particular color. Let's fix this about being able to capture, and that's an easy fix. So now we'll say do. All right, so what did we do here? We changed the way that we do the scoring. Yep, we added a set score there. In the client, we changed how the messages were structured and look for problems. I don't want to have that turd there. I'll leave that there. And we want those word change to letters, and letters constructor. What did the constructor change to? Oh, did I make a new class here? No. Okay, yeah, things look good still. String, letters. Okay. And the presenter model, letters, just name changes. Okay, then we found the player and we changed how we called the score. Yep. And then the block. We added yellow, purple. Okay, great. So let's say we added team color highlighting to the grid. What I was thinking would be kind of fun is to make these colors stronger when the when the score is more significant, but I'll save that for later. Okay, now we wanted to fix this problem and then we'll be done for today. So in the presenter model, this is where we get to decide if the word gets to go. So here we're checking the score and the length. So so basically we just need to change this logic to check the teams. So if the block dot team is not equal to, and let's get the player up here, dupe, is not equal to the player dot team, and the block score is greater or than or equal to the score coming in, then we'll say the score is too low. So this should allow us to do smaller words as long as we're on the same team. Okay. All right, so let's just change it in real time. So, all right, so here we have some 4s on the purple team. Let's pick Justina. Where are you, Justina? Okay, so Justina, we're going to try to do a 3-letter word across this 4. So let's do fur. So F-U-R. Normally it would have rejected it, but since I'm on the same team, boom, should have kept the score. Did not keep the score. So that's one more thing to change. We want to set score. Okay, so here we'll need the block. So we'll say const dot block block is equal to, let's find it, and then we'll say block dot set score, and then we'll just say math the maximum of the word length or the block dot score. So we'll keep the high score, whatever it was. Save. Okay, so let's see if we can pass a 3. So Muhannad, let's pass. I think Ellie led is a word. So it's a 3-letter word. We'll submit, and we should get it. Oh no, it rejected it. Why did it reject it? Because I did it on Justina, not Muhannad. So yeah, that was a good test. So Justina couldn't do it, but Muhannad should be able to do it. Yes, and it changed that score, probably because we've saved something wrong. The max of the length or the existing block score. Set score. Oh, and yeah. Yes. So let's do it like this. We have to add this logic to the other one, to the client. I could add this logic to the block, but I'm reluctant to do that because I don't want the block to be smart about this. This is game logic, not the block should just be kind of dumb thinking about what a block is. I don't want to have built into the block this idea that it knows that the score should be kept at a certain level. So I have to add it to the client. So let's find set score here. There. Else. Yeah. And we'll do this. So it's going to be message.score versus block.score. Yeah, there's a problem here in general, and that is I'm forcing the client to do some logic here to match the logic that's on the thing. That means that this message should change. So the scored word message, go to definition. Yeah, it's got this letter chain, and the letter chain has a letter and coordinates. Really, we should pass the score when we tell the other people about it. And so I'm just going to log that as a bug that I'll fix later, because it's forcing the client to make decisions about game logic, and that is opening room for a bug where if I don't fix logic on the client properly, we'll have a mismatch between the presenter and the client. I really want the presenter to be the authority on like what is good in the game. So let's I'll just put it here as a bug to fix. I'll call this presenter should report scored words letter by letter, so the client doesn't know, doesn't have business logic. Yeah, I'll do that later. I'm running out of time. All right, so now we're almost there. So, okay, good. So now it should work. So let's find another 4 here. So we're on the yellow team, so we want to move a nod on yellow. So can we do a 3-letter word? I think ped is a word. I don't know. We'll find out. Nope, it's not a word. Oh, but it went red. What? Okay, something weird's going on. Let's quit, clear, start over, because this feels weird. Something happened that shouldn't have happened. Okay, let's go here. Let's do gay. Submit. All right, so we have this purple word. Oh, we need a 4-letter word. Let's see. Let's do a big word. B-U-N-T. Okay, sorry, I thought I was going to ask 4. Okay, now if I do E-A-T, yes, that worked. But did it show up here? Oh, yes, it did. Yeah, and so if I have a purple guy and I do T-E-N, nope. And if I do a word that doesn't exist, M-N-T, that did not work, but if I do it here, M-N-T. Ah! I know what happened. Oh, no, I didn't keep it. I didn't keep it. Okay, we're good. We're good. Hooray. So even though it was there. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that worked. That was a little harder change than I thought it was going to be. All right, so on the client, we added that logic. On the server, we added the logic and changed what we sent. And then that's it. That's okay. Maybe it was easy. So allow capture of lower scored words from the same team. It's a lexible. Oops. As a lexible change. Oh. That was weird. Allow captures of lower scored words from the same team. Okay. Check. Push. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. That was a fun time for coding. Hope you enjoyed it, learned something. See you around.